it is the new year, and I'm bringing in one of the men who's helped transform my life personally to give us some insights. What's up, brother Sal?
John, how you doing?
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just, working, being a dad, not sleeping because I got little ones. But other than that, just having a good time, man.
Listen, if I was to be honest about your Instagram feeds recently, it sounds like you're tired because y'all are blowing up Cabo for the last however many days.
Oh, we went down there to meet with Dr. Khan for some treatments and stuff that we'll be talking about on the show. Primarily we want to see if it helps with Adam's psoriasis that he'd been struggling with. But yeah, I mean, it was gorgeous down there, so it was pretty cool.
Did y'all walk away with any insights into, oh man, we're onto something here?
It's a bit controversial, but stem cell infusions seem to have some pretty profound effects on autoimmune type issues.
Yeah.
And we're just going to be very honest about how it works or doesn't work. Dr. Khan knows this. He's very confident. We trust him. So we'll keep you posted.
That's so cool. Well, to everybody listening, this is my good buddy, Sal Di Stefano, an integral part, a cornerstone part of the Mind Pump gang. Out of San Jose, California, who have been instrumental in changing my personal fitness. Sal, in particular, behind closed doors, has really helped me work through some disordered eating challenges I've had my whole life. And somebody that I regularly go to and say, hey, man, I need some help. And so luckily for me, I've got a cell number. You guys don't. But here's why I'm bringing Sal on today. This show's is rolling out into the new year. We're about 2 or 3 weeks into the new year, and this is when everybody starts falling apart. They've made all these announcements to the world about what they're going to do with their health, with their fitness, with their nutrition. And about week 3, they're like, this sucks, I'm out. And Sal, you worked in gyms forever, right? As a personal trainer, you ran gyms. This is about week 3 into 4, 5, and 6 when the gym goes from being super packed to there's just back to the same old gang, right?
Yeah, the traffic and the revenue of gyms goes up a good 50%, and that stays high through February. By March, it starts to dip back down, and you lose most people that came in that initial wave. And it's just very, very, very predictable, very consistent. The fitness industry and the gyms know this; they capitalize on it. But the fail rate it's so high, and this was one of the reasons why I left gyms, to be quite honest.
Yeah, what is it about the business model that this is an aside, it's not even why I called you, but it's an interesting thread I want to pull real quick. Why would somebody open a business without the end result being helping a customer? It feels very much like Blockbuster, where the bulk of their revenue came when their customer failed. When their customer didn't bring back the movie, that's when Blockbuster made their money. And ultimately, that always fails business-wise long term.
John, you're hitting a nerve with me. This is why we started the podcast. This is why I left the gym industry. A lot of markets, markets are good at giving us what we want, but they're terrible at giving us what we need. And the fitness industry is just like any other market. And so what they figured was people want to have access to the gym, and they'll keep paying if it's cheap enough, and they won't show up. And so gyms, with that model, they're like, look, the heavy users, the people that pay us $20 a month and use the gym consistently, they cost us money. We lose money on them. They wear down the equipment. They're in here all the time. The people that pay us and don't show up, that's pure profit. I mean, if everybody showed up that had a gym membership on a consistent basis, gyms would have to shut down. They would exceed the regulations for how many people you can allow in the building. That's the truth.
Wow.
And the whole industry is built on that. And I just couldn't live with that. It just didn't work for me. And as a trainer, I was like, I really, really wanted people not just to get results, but then to be able to keep them. That's the hard part. Like, how can we get people to stay consistent and make this a part of their life? Not just do it for 2 or 3 months when they're feeling motivated or maybe feeling bad about themselves. And that's why we started the podcast. But yeah, that's what happens in the gyms. And it's very, very clear why this happens. And we really try to communicate this on the show as much as possible.
Well, you know this as well as I do. The arc of any business that ultimately does not result in life change or solving a problem for a customer will end. period.
Yes.
And it just depends on how long they can squeeze it out, but eventually it goes away. And I don't know if it's some of the incredible home gym equipment that you and I both have. I mean, I don't know what ultimately turns it over, or if it's an economic, but who knows what it is. But we all know that if you're not solving a problem for a customer downstream, your business goes away. But that's a secondary thing. All right, so here we are. I'm recording this show right before Christmas. It's coming out for people who are 3 weeks into the new year. I'm going to ask you, give me some bite-sized tips for John Delony's fitness goals in 24 that people can use. They're 3 weeks in. They're like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in the first month. And they're already like, that's not going to happen. Or I'm never eating a carb again, or whatever crazy thing they came up with. This is going to allow them, before January is over, to control, alt, delete, and actually do something that's going to become, like you said, I love it, a part of your life. This is a way of being moving forward. So give me some headlines here that I can incorporate as I build my fitness goals for 2024.
Oh, I love that you asked this question, John. By the way, one thing I love about fitness so much is it's an example of like life. Okay, so this might sound a little esoteric, but it's really true. So what I'm about to say, I think, is going to resonate, right? When we're in a hyper-motivated state of mind, and that motivation may come from self-hate or guilt or, oh my God, the holidays, I feel so terrible, or I just totally indulged, or it's a new year, so now it's going to be a new me, whatever. When we're in that motivated state of mind, without realizing it, we assume that motivated state of mind is how we're always going to feel. So we end up making promises with ourselves or with other people. We end up setting goals for ourselves, assuming that this is how we're always going to feel. And so what it looks like is I never exercise and I've been eating whatever I want, to now I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to show up 4 days a week for sure. And I'm never going to eat a carb, or I'm going to completely overhaul my diet and completely overhaul my life. And that's works as long as you're in that hyper motivated state of mind, which 100% will go away. Nobody ever stays. I've never had to convince a client to work out or eat right when they felt that way. That's easy. The hard part is when that feeling goes away, because it will, because life is not about feeling the same all the time. So the key here is making promises with yourself, imagining yourself in the other states of mind, the normal states of mind, the unmotivated states of mind, when I'm tired, when I'm busy, when I don't want to. All right, what does that look like? So what that typically looks like is a really small step. And by the way, there's no wrong answer here. So you have to have this conversation with yourself. So like, to give you an example, I had a client once I trained. I use her as an example all the time, and hopefully she doesn't hear these because I hope I don't make her feel bad, but it turned out to be a real incredible success story. But she had such a terrible diet, such a bad relationship with food. And she came to me in this motivated state of mind. You know, this is what I'm going to do. And we sat down. I said, look, you want to go from here to here. And in my experience, this is going to fail because it's too big of a jump. How do you normally feel? Let's take some steps that you think you'll be able to stick to for the rest of your life. Let's use that as the context. And so this is what we started with. You ready? She started with, I'm going to drink an extra glass of water every day, and I'm going to walk for 10 minutes, 3 days a week. That's where she started, okay? But she started there because she was able to put herself in that state of mind of, okay, I know how I can feel. I know how hard this will be for me. So I can start with this promise, and I think it can be consistent with that. Now, here's what happened. She followed that, and eventually it became a part of her life. And then she asked herself that question again. What's another step I can take? And over time, the space between these steps gets smaller, and the steps become larger because you start to develop this skill of discipline. This you constantly hear fitness professionals talk about. You start to develop the skill of, how I can make changes that will stick. But you have to start there. Don't make yourself promises or make these big jumps because this is how you feel now, and without realizing it, you're assuming you're always going to feel that way because you're guaranteed to fail. You're writing checks you can't cash. When that feeling goes away, you'll let yourself down. And if you do that enough times, and this is what the fitness industry has done so terribly, is that we've capitalized on those motivated state of minds by selling people everything and throwing everything at them but the kitchen sink. And once they fail 3 or 4 times, they never come back. And that's terrible, absolutely terrible. So there really is no right answer with the first step. It's got to be the one that you think you can maintain for the rest of your life, knowing how you can feel when you're not feeling as motivated as you may be right now at the beginning of the year.
Man, so I'm thinking back to 2015 for me. And I've been an athlete most of my life, but I was an academic nerd for a while, so I spent less time in the gym. 2015, I think, was when I just made a deal with myself. You go home gym. I got a squat rack in my house and a few weights. You're gonna do four times a week, just something. And here it is, getting up, knocking on the door of 10 years later. And I've got a pretty elaborate routine, but I think it worked exactly as you said it. But here's what I fall prey to it. So I'm living that out in my life over a decade. It's a part of my life now in a way that's like, if I don't hug my daughter on a regular day, my day feels off. Similarly, if I don't exercise, my day feels off. And 3 weeks ago, I was like, dude, you're going to do 60 pounds in your ruck every single day on a treadmill at this incline for 30 straight days. And here's what happened. I got stuck in a cell phone store for 4 hours the other night because they moved one set of data to one phone, blah, blah, blah. And dude, I got home at 11 o'clock at night and I felt like such a shameful loser. You failed. What a loser. And that's my self-talk, dude, right now at 23. So dumb. I fell for it again. And you nailed it. It's so easy. You go to the gym and some beefcake McGee in too tight of a shirt is like, what are your goals? And you're like, I want to get an abs. He's like, sweet. And then the first workout, the next day you can't wipe properly because your hands don't work and your abs hurt so bad and you can't get off the toilet. And then you can't go the next day. Or I'm doing make up some workout that's like, you got to do everything So what you're saying is, all right, we've looked across the landscape. That crap just doesn't work. Can you make some small changes on a regular basis? Whatever
John,
it has to be.
Let me hammer this home, okay? Not only will you fail, but that's also not how the body adapts anyway, okay? When you're trying to get leaner, build muscle, get stronger, improve your mobility, become healthier, right? Those are all adaptations that your body is moving towards as a result of some kind of a signal that you sent your body. And that signal is perceived as some sort of a stress, right? So if I exercise, it's a little bit of a stress on my body. In fact, if you were to take my blood markers post-exercise, it would look like, oh my God, what's going on? Inflammatory markers are up and what's happening to this person? So what your body does, just like developing calluses on your skin or tanning because you're out in the sun, your body adapts to that stress so that it no longer becomes a stress, right? And so then what happens is you're more fit, so you got to work out a little harder or do a little longer or whatever in order to continue to induce those changes. Okay, so where am I going with this? Look, if you're listening right now and your activity looks like nothing and your diet is, you've accepted like it's not very good, you don't need, if you take too big of a step, you're going to overwhelm your body's ability to adapt to those stresses. It's no different than if I lived in my mother's basement for 10 years and then I go out to the hot baking, California sun and try to accomplish a, Mediterranean tan in one day. I would just burn myself. That's all. I would just damage my body and I wouldn't get a tan, right? So regardless of where you stand with this, not only will the data will show if you take too big of steps, you're going to fail anyway because you'll stop. But even if you think to yourself like, no, I'll keep doing this, your body doesn't adapt that way anyway. You're going to overcome your body's ability to adapt to the stress. You're not going to get stronger. You're not going to get more fit. You're going to overwhelm your body. You're going to become more tired, overtrained. Stress hormones are going to go out of whack. You're not going to feel very good. And like you said, people think that feeling like I can't wipe myself the next day means I had a good workout. No, that means you did too much. That means you got a sunburn. You're not going to get that tan. So wherever you're at, the appropriate step is not only the one that you're most likely to stick to, it's also the one that's going to get you there the fastest. So I want people to understand that, and I have to sell this constantly to people because they think that they're trading, that the trade is, I'm going to get there slower, but I'm more likely to stick to the goal. No. It's not one is fast, one is slow. It's one is yes, one is no. That's the fact. So the right way is the right way is the right way. And again, I hope I'm selling it effectively because I want people to understand this. If you do this the way that I'm expressing it and explaining it, it's going to work, or at least it's far more likely to work. There is no other way.
So I also love, so good, man. I love this because challenge looks different for everybody. And here's what I mean. For some people, going for a walk 3 days a week for 10 minutes is a dramatic change in your life.
Correct.
And having an extra glass of water instead of a Diet Coke is a dramatic change. And for me, I lift weights all the time. You know what I have to do? When I was doing MMA regularly, I used to be able to stand up and pick up my leg and put my heel on somebody's shoulder. I can't touch my toes anymore. So this year for me, I'm going to incorporate I'm going to be able to do the splits, but I'm not doing that because normally that would be me. But based on this one phone call, Sal, I'm going to incorporate 1 day a week. I feel so good when I lift. I'm going to do 1 day of mobility a week. I'm going to try that. And I bet over time, my hips will loosen up, my knees and shoulders loosen up, and I'm going to feel so good that I'll make it a regular part of my life.
100%. 100%. It is a relationship. Look, if someone's listening, and you too, John, and even to myself, right? Plan on doing this for the rest of my life. I don't plan on stopping, right? So it's a relationship that you have with this activity or with this pursuit of, improving my health, my vitality. Consider this. Let's forget the fact that we want to look ripped or we want to appear a particular way or we have, body image issues. All of us are challenged with those, myself included. Consider this. A more fit, healthy version of you is just going to enjoy life more. Okay. Period. End of story.
Right.
And so what that means is use your workouts and use your diet to improve the quality of your life, regardless of the context of your life. Now, what that means is your workouts and your diet are going to shift and change just like your life does, So sometimes, John, you're going to go to the gym or you're going to go to your garage and you're going to work out hard because you got good sleep. Everything's going good in your life and you feel great. Sometimes you're going to be really stressed out. Maybe you got bad sleep. Maybe something's happening with your kids or whatever. And your capacity is much lower. You don't go in the garage and beat yourself up. That's not going to improve the quality of your life. Now you go in the garage and now I'm relieving stress. Maybe I'm stretching. Maybe I got to take a day off even, right? So when you look at it that way, you tend to train yourself and eat in a way that's appropriate to the context of your life. And then what happens is you develop this, it's like you've got this Swiss Army knife where you could pull out the right blade for whatever's happening in your life. You're like, I'm tired. Oh, here's how I'm going to work out because I'm tired. Or here's how I'm not going to work out because I'm tired. Or my digestion's off. This is what my diet's going to look like as a result. Or man, everything's firing in all cylinders. I feel amazing. I think I'm going to train for a PR in my deadlift, or I'm going to see how fast I can run the mile or whatever. But when you do it that way, you've developed this relationship with this pursuit, and it won't serve you wrong if you do it that way. You're going to steer yourself more towards an appropriate application of these things, because the challenge is that people always run into is they're applying it inappropriately to themselves in a way where it's not sustainable, or it's not giving them the payback that they expect, or their expectations are narrowly focused on just the scale, and they're not observing the full breadth of what becoming more fit and healthy can do for you.
Or I think a last one is one that, man, you personally have really helped me with is you look so gross, Delony. You have to beat yourself up because this is what you get. This is what you deserve for looking like this. And if you exercise and you don't just beat yourself up, well, now you're grosser in your character on top of not looking right. And so, dude, thank you so much. We're gonna link to, if everybody listening, I talk about this all the time, but the MAPS program, Mind Pump, they're the OGs in the space for if you want a particular workout to follow, to take all the guesswork out. You can piecemeal stuff together by Googling everything under the sun. And if you're like me, you've probably spent more time trying to Google and piecemeal a workout together than actually just going to the gym and doing what you need to do. Sal and his team have taken all the guesswork out. They've got the best programs on the planet. And I know that because I use them at my house. Multiple programs. And once I get this nagging shoulder injury taken care of, dude, I can't wait to get on old man strength, man. It's going to be an awesome. I can't wait. But Sal, thank you and your gang, Adam and Justin and Doug, the whole team for putting out such extraordinary stuff and for finally, dude, telling the truth about all this.
Thank you so much.
You got it, my brother. All right, take care. Hey, everybody. We'll link to Mind Pump and all the workouts in the show notes.